Hi, it's Jane. I thought I'd sit down and crochet with you a little bit. I had a few minutes and thought I'm gonna sit down, gonna crochet some bit because I'm done with my friend, taking her to the dentist, and my back is hurting, so I'm waiting for some relief to happen with a little bit of a muscle spasm, muscle relaxer to help with that. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, so I am sitting here doing that and thought I would crochet a little bit. Also have a little bit of a heating pad back there behind me, and yeah, just kind of checking things out. You know, we've had this, and I'm filming this Wednesday afternoon. We had the shooting early this morning at the ICE facility in Dallas. I think it's been targeted several times in the past, and apparently there were three who have gone on with the Lord, and possibly another in the hospital, I think. I mean, this, you know, they keep going back, whether it's 3 that were killed, 1 in the hospital, 2 that were killed, 1 in the hospital, who knows. But unfortunately, they were detainees, people who were being brought in custody that, for the most part, were killed. No ICE agents. Sad thing is, the guy that did it killed himself, but it looks like he was a longtime member of Antifa. Very left. Again, had these messages that he'd either written on, carved into the bullets, you know. So here we are again. And someone had said, well, maybe he shot them as a decoy, you know, to blame the right or whatever. Again, I think it's somebody who had mental health issues that actually did the shooting. I don't know. That's my theory. When you have that much hate in your heart, that you're just going to shoot anybody, kill anybody because of your hatred, there's a problem. And I think it's mental health, and I don't think that our politicians that are on the rather liberal side are helping the situation. I don't think the news agencies help it either. But I don't know. It's going to be kind of sad dealing with some of the things past that. Maybe this guy was mad because, you know, Trump had declared Antifa a terrorist, given them a terrorist designation. Maybe he wanted to prove it right. I don't know. Who knows? You know, next coming days, I guess we'll find out more. And of course, you know, first thing that Zuckerberg's office does is they scrub his Facebook page. Now, I don't know why they scrub it. I can understand taking it down, locking it, so that it's given over to the FBI, ATF, you know, for whatever. But, yeah. This mentality of using violence to get across your point is it's wrong-sided. Just is. And then it wasn't but 2 hours later, there was a mass stabbing at a Pittsburgh high school. So, of course, the guy that did it was, the young man that did it was someone who used apparently a penknife or a pocket knife to do the stabbings. 2 of them were in the abdomen. There were 3 people injured. One of them was some minor lacerations. And of the 2, one of them's in stable condition. The other one is in critical condition. So are we now going to start seeing calls for pocket knife control? Penknife control? I don't know. Nutsos. The other thing that I heard just a few minutes ago, and I pray to God it's not true, but I have a feeling it is because I did watch the video of a woman doing this, and I think I know who it is. In her defiance, because she filmed herself doing it, in her defiance against Trump and the whole thing with the acetaminophen, she took a handful of acetaminophen. See, it's even difficult for a nurse who worked with it all the years of her life to pronounce. She took a handful of it, followed it by downing a bottle of liquid Tylenol to prove Trump wrong. Apparently at 4 a.m. this morning, her husband called a friend, frantic, upset, because his wife was in the ICU on a ventilator with severe liver failure. And apparently the baby's not going to make it, and looks like the mother's not going to make it either. And that is the worst thing about this nonsense that this Trump derangement syndrome has created. You have women who are actively doing things that are harming themselves and their baby. And I've been lifting both of them up in prayer ever since, I saw that. Praying that that's not true and that they are being helped. And I pray for those other women who
breaking news coming.
Who followed the same trend. And I truly think people that are doing this, that are so adamant about everything that Trump does is bad, Orange Man bad, needs to be evaluated by psychiatrists. See if they're safe for their own family and their own lives, because this is not a good thing, people. It's not a good thing. So, of course, the good thing, is that there is money that's being allotted to research for autism. And that's a good thing. No other presidents have done that, have dedicated that kind of money to that kind of research. We've seen since the last 20 years, the last 50 years, we've seen the number increase. But the last 20 years, we've seen it double, with the increase of autism. Now, there's a full range of autism, from those folks that can function in society, do fine, to the worst of the worst who cannot function at all, need to be cared for. They can't even go to the bathroom by themselves. or they have a breakdown, throwing violent hissy fit over chicken nuggets, that are 6 foot, 6'5", whatever, 200 plus pounds, and, the parents have to deal with this all the time. Or like the one woman that I know, her son is 12, and he's on the, very end spectrum. She nearly wears herself down completely every day because she's constantly having to check on him. She can't leave him in a room by himself. She has no idea what's going to happen. She has no idea if the room is going to be torn apart, if he's going to injure himself trying to climb out the window, break the window to get out of the window, or if she's going to walk in there and he's covered in poo and has done poo paintings on the wall. I mean, it's all ends of the spectrum. So it's a good thing that there's research into it to at least try to find a cause, if at all possible. And I hope they have some good discoveries and can find some good help. And one of you subscribers had posted a video on Facebook that I'm going to address right here. Supposedly there's this woman, Jordan, who says she was contacted by the CDC to put her child in Florida in a camp. And some of you who do watch TikTok and watch some of the right and the left both, you've probably seen this video that was put out by someone who says she spills the tea. Her name is Crest, and she's very dangerous. If you have ever watched her over the years, she quite frequently puts out information out there that is 100% absolute rubbish. Lies, falsehoods, you name it. However, I thought, I'm going to go look at this story because I'm kind of curious about it. You know how I am. Gotta go find it. Within 30 seconds, found that there is no credible evidence. None of the people have brought any real clear evidence. The only thing that was clear is Chris had started a GoFundMe page for her friend back, I want to say it was September the 5th. Might be wrong on the date. But she had started this GoFundMe page for her friend Jordan and her son because they had to pay for a lawyer because they were, fighting CDC, and CDC sent CPS out there and all this other stuff. And then when you go to find out what's going on, what had happened was, originally, this woman's dog had bit her own child. And the dog, because of living in Florida, because of the type of the dog, when it bites a child, the way it bites, the state insists that the dog be put down. So, but then what they do is they follow up. CPS comes out to make sure that the other children in the family are safe, that there weren't any injuries. The other thing was that there was CDC that did call several times trying to find out if there was any kind of infection from the dog bite. Did they have to look at possibilities of rabies, anything else? And this woman would not answer the questions. And Chris blows this story up to where it's fully almost outrageous. saying that they continued to harass her to put her autistic son, who's 5, into a summer camp that would give him treatment and therapy for his autism. Now, I couldn't find any camp that does that. CDC doesn't have a camp that does that. It may have been CPS that gave her a recommendation, for a possible camp that could help her, give her some respite, help her as well deal with her child. Who knows? But nobody's getting the real story, with the exception of what's been put out there from the CDC, CPS, who says, no, there's no credible evidence. This is what we did. This is what it was concerning around this woman. She's had several interviews. Supposedly, she'd given $4,000 to some lawyer she found on TikTok that went by the name Gary, who apparently was not a lawyer, and now he's not answering her and just took her money. Well, GoFundMe took the page down because it didn't raise enough money in the amount of time that they had allotted for it, and some other things. I can't remember exactly what it was that GoFundMe took it down. So Chris started asking her subscribers, people who watch her, to send money to her directly to help pay for lawyers' fees, supposedly. Well, this family, and who knows why they've chosen to do this, basically said that they've chosen to move out of America. And the story is so long and convoluted, it's hard to follow. But they had plans on moving out of the country, and supposedly that's what the money is for. Who knows what it's for at this point? Because you can't hardly even follow the story. So I think people have to be very aware when they hear these stories. Go see if you can actually find the backbone of this. Battery died. I do have a couple of nurse friends from around the country that have already started telling me that they are seeing Tylenol overdoses come in to the emergency room and onto their floors. And if you've never seen patients, what happens is your liver dies because of it. Guess I should bleep the die word out. But actually, you're damaging your liver. And what happens is they have to give you this solution that you have to drink. And generally it's every 4 hours, and it's disgusting. And it's not a little bit. It is like a applesauce cup full of it that you have to drink every 4 hours to help try to counteract what you've done by taking the Tylenol. And that's if you're conscious. Like I said, I'd put a video up on TikTok about the side effects that can happen. And quite a few of those are just short of being in a coma. A couple of them told me that they sent the patients to ICU in comas from what they have done. Quite a few of them are pregnant. It's just sad. So, I just wish people would stop being idiots, quite frankly. Got a lot of stuff going on. And we've had in the past, probably last 3 months, you've got ICE facilities that have been targeted. You have all kinds of things that have been targeted. shot up, shootings, you name it. And for some reason, they all tend to be from left-leaning people. So what is it? Are they advocating violence? Is this all they know? Is it really? See, I've often teased about being that big a liberal, leaning that far left, is mental illness. But I'm seriously beginning to wonder if it actually is mental illness. I mean, they seem to have no regret. And then you have, what was it? Hillary Clinton? I can't remember. Was it NBC? CBS? Oh. Her going off about the problem is Christian men? Or what'd she say? Christian nationalists. There you go. Stoking stuff up that ain't out there. You know, while ignoring the things that are going on in the Islamic communities where they're quite frankly calling for our government to be overturned. And that they have sleeper cells within the U.S., thousands of fighters. I mean, can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. So I don't know. I think the rhetoric needs to be toned down. They keep saying it's the right. It's got all the rhetoric. I haven't seen it come from a right. Most of it comes from the left. Most of what I'm seeing from the right has been toned it down. You can't be saying these things. You can't keep, and you can't. You can't keep calling people fascist when you want a fascist type government. Stop and think about that. You're asking for everything that fascists do to be done in our country. So, who's the fascist? Right? You can't throw those terms around lightly. And we've seen far too much of that. And a lot of it comes from our own political leaders. And they just need to stop. And I don't know how come can't be charged with inciting violence. Now, I do think it's rather funny that Schumer is pleading for Trump to meet with them around the budget. I don't know if you know this, but Democrats didn't want to vote on the bill, basically are, calling for the government to be shut down because they want $1 trillion to be spent for illegals' free health care. Why aren't they paying that for our health care? Americans. I mean, come on. Why should we have to pay for their health care? And why aren't Americans getting free health care? I mean, if you can find $1 trillion to pay for illegals' health care, surely you can find it to pay for Americans, too. Yeah, those are the kind of things that just irritate the bejeebies out of me. So, I don't know. And of course, they still have 2 days when they come back from their vacay. Didn't they just come back from a vacay? Wasn't that what August was about? Vacay? Now they're back on another vacay? I mean, seriously. Yeah, I'm a little wound up, aren't I? Sorry about that. I had planned to go to Hobby Lobby because I needed to look at some fabrics. Wound up not going. Might go later on this week. Just because this whole muscle thing is bothering me, and of course the fibro. I'm like, I don't want to get out there and just not feeling it. So hoping that maybe by Friday things will have calmed down so I can go get it. I do need to look for some lining for one of the bags. I mean, I do have some fabric I could use. I'm not too thrilled with it, so thought I would go look and see what they had. Plus they have, I think McCall's patterns on sale for 99 cents this week through Saturday. So, and I also need to get some more of that purple cardstock I need for Christian women. I'm low on it, so I have a list that I need to get. And that's always fun. Getting that. Getting it taken care of and in place. I was watching, I can't even remember who it was that I was watching. Was it Yarn Barf? I think it was Yarn Barf. I like to watch her every once in a while. She had talked about yarn, getting new yarn, and finding storage for her yarn. It made me stop and think, so what do you guys do for your storage of your yarn? Do you have shelves that you put it on? You know where mine's all at right now. It's all in totes and here, there, and in the garage and in the other room. I'd like to put it back up in the back, but with the house for sale, it kind of seems like I shouldn't even worry about that. So I don't know. Because I also think with not being able to see it, it kind of limits my motivation to get it worked through. Does that make any sense? At least that's what I keep thinking in my head. Because I'm not real motivated. You know, if I don't see it right off the bat, I'm not real motivated to move. And to move on it and get it out of there, worked on, so to speak. That's a bad place to be, folks. You know? And have you seen any kind of organization system that you like for yarn, that you desire? Kind of curious what's on your guys' minds for it. You know, I'd always envisioned these shelves, and Yarn Geek, I appreciate her taking us into her mother's home as well as even her own home. Or, not home. Was it the space that she has rented for her yarn and for whatever she's doing? But especially her mom's, with all those shelves that she has up there and the yarn, stacking it all the way up to the ceiling and on top of the shelves. right up to the ceiling. I look at that and I think she wins the most yarn. I really do. Woman with the most yarn next to a yarn warehouse. Because that is a lot of yarn. So, I don't know. And do you guys follow Felicity on Instagram with her reels about, what a crocheter? She did one where a crocheter passed away on their deathbed. I had to laugh at that. So Mary doesn't get my furl hooks. You can have whatever you want, my child. What about my younger sister? She didn't want to learn how to crochet. She doesn't get any of the good yarn. She gets all the acrylic. Or the sister-in-law. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was her daughter-in-law. I think her sister gets nothing because she didn't want to crochet. Learn to crochet. Oh, just made me stop and think, what would my last will and testament be with my yarn? And I already have mine designated where I want it to go. So, and you never know if the family's going to act out, follow through with it or not, but I would hope they would. So, I guess we'll see. They do or don't. Right? Oh, well. Well, I think I've chatted on long enough. Gotta move on. Do need to get up and get the interfacings completely cut for the bags I've got cut. Kind of put that off. So I need to get that done. And hopefully my muscles will behave and not act out all ugly. So I can get that done. But other than that, guys, just a little chit chat. And I'll see you again for what whipping coffee on Friday. You know it won't be coffee, but we'll see whatever it is. All right, guys. See you guys soon. Bye for now.